understanding the dynamics of money and how money actually works will actually put you in an advantageous position not to worry about money. Money is actually dynamic, and we need to understand this dynamism for you to be able to assimilate and have a clear idea of what money is actually all about. Money is very dynamic, is complex, and money is not evil, but money answereth all things. Now, for you to be able to understand the complexity of money and the dynamism and how money actually works in society, you need to understand one thing, that number one, we are in a capitalist society or a free market economic system, and capitalism, is based on what, on profit motive, or profit is actually the guiding principle. And in the capitalist system, the system has actually been made in a way that those that will actually be successful, or those that will actually be wealthy, or those that will actually be rich in society, are those that understands how capitalism works. Because capitalism is a dynamic system, is an ever-changing system, is a system that actually evolves over time. And for you to be able to survive in this system, you need a financial education. Financial education is different from what you actually learn in your school, in your secondary school days, in your university, in your masters, in your PhD, or any form of degree. It is actually different from that. The idea of what, of financial education is based on the lacuna or the precept of money making or money generation, and creating a wealth for yourself, which is quite different from what we actually study while we are actually in school. Most of us, went to school to study political science, sociology, aeronautic engineering, medicine and surgery, and the rest of them. But it does not have anything to do with what I call financial education. Money is actually dynamic. And why is money dynamic? Because money is dynamic because every individual needs to work. We all need to work. If no man does not, if any man does not work, no man should actually feed. And that's why we all go out every day to search for our daily bread and earn what I call income, or generate what we call value, or what we call money. So when we work, we generate money, and when we generate money, we generate assets, and when we generate assets, we generate wealth, and when we generate wealth, we generate what we call financial freedom. That is the dynamism of money. I will repeat it again. When we work, when you and I we actually go out there to actually live our daily bread and create value in society, we generate money. And when we actually generate this money, we generate assets. And when we generate the asset will create what we call wealth. And when the wealth create what? The wealth now will create what we call financial freedom. Financial freedom. So when you have financial freedom, you have everything. So wealth will generate you financial freedom, money will generate you financial freedom, and that is the basic principle of wealth. Among young people and those that are not financially literate, this system is not the same thing. It is the opposite side. And that is why you need financial education to understand more better the dynamics of money. For those that are not financially educated, or for those that don't have the kind of financial education or exposure that most people that actually find themselves in this capitalist society and are making money for themselves at the end of the day, for those that don't have this idea, the reverse is actually the case. So the reverse is that most of them, they go out there and work to generate money, money, of course, which is the first principle. And when they generate this money, what happens? They use that money to buy what we call liabilities, and they dump stuff. Liabilities and what? And dump stuffs. And what's a liability? Liability does not create value. It will only create a hole in your pocket. And that is what differentiates someone that's actually financially educated from someone that is not financially educated. Those that are not educated, work will generate money, and the money will generate what we call what? Liabilities. So there are some certain principles or conditions that you need to know if you want to kill the wealth killers. Now, because there are some certain things that actually kill our wealth, there are some certain things that serves as an influence, there are some certain things that serves as obstacles that actually prevent us from actually making money in life and becoming rich in their life. And these are the things I'm going to be discussing in this topic, which is where the wealth killer, what I call the wealth killer. So many things are creating what I call the wealth killer in societies, and you find these wealth killers among the young folks in our society, those between the ages of 20 to 45 years, because this wealth killer is actually more predominant among them. And why is it like that? We're in a society that's called a grab society, or a dialectical materialistic society, or a society where we have the contradiction of what? Of the social forces, or a society that is based on what? On materialism. In a nutshell, it's a society where people glorify those that are very flamboyant, people that tends to exhibit their wealth in society. So it's a society that if you don't exhibit your wealth, if you don't prove or show to people that you are actually rich, nobody actually recognizes you. And that's the society we find ourselves in developing countries and some other parts of the world. So don't forget, what will generate money, and money will generate what? Asset, and asset will generate wealth, and wealth will generate financial freedom. If you understand this principle, then you are good to go under a capitalist system. But the basic thing is that you must have what we call work. Now, what are those things that are actually wealth killers? Number one is what I call cars, or luxury cars, or luxurious cars. You see, car is very good. I could remember some time ago, I also have series of car. My first car, when I could remember when I bought my first car, was a Nissan Bluebird. Nissan Bluebird. Though I didn't have much experience about how to use a car, I just bought that car, and in fact, I regretted buying the car because the car was giving me mechanical problem and mechanical problem and mechanical problem. So it almost drained my purse empty. At the end of the day, I had to get rid of that car and bought a second car. And that time I think I bought Nissan Altima from Altima. Then I bought another one, Quest, from Quest. I bought a Toyota Celica, and from Toyota Celica I bought another one. The rest is just history. So car is a wealth killer, most especially if you are buying an exorbitant or luxurious car, or extravagant cars, or very expensive cars. And why do I say that luxurious cars are actually wealth killers? Maintaining car in Nigeria is not always easy. It's not always easy. Apart from the fact that cars are very expensive in Nigeria now, maintaining them is not easy. You buy a car at a very expensive rate, then apart from that, you have to buy a fuel at a very expensive rate. In Nigeria now, fuel is what is gold in this part of the world, because 1 liter of fuel now is about 900 and something naira, or 900 naira thereabouts, and it's a part of the state they're even selling it for 1,000, 1,001. So you can see that buying a car in Nigeria now is what is not easy. So maintaining your car, fueling your car, repairing your car is not a very easy phenomenon or a concept. And that is why most people in this part of the world now, most of them are actually selling their car off, because maintaining a car now is very expensive. So buying a car now, most especially luxurious car, is a wealth killer. You can actually imagine if you decide not to buy that car, because if you want to buy an average car in Nigeria now, you spend like I think maybe 4 million naira, 4 million naira to buy an average car in Nigeria now, 4 million naira. Now imagine if you decide not to buy that car for 4 million naira, and you decide to put that money into an investment, or let's even say that you wanted to buy a car for 5 million naira, and you now decide not to buy that car for 5 million naira, and you decided to put that money into investment. Let's calculate it. For example, in Nigeria now, if you actually invest your money in money market fund, it will get you 20% at an average of 20%. Now 20% of 5 million naira is 1 million naira. 1 million naira. Now let's assume that you decided not to put any money in that thing again, and you decided to leave that account like that for the next 20 years. That 5 million naira is going to generate you 25 million naira at the end of the 20 years. 25 million naira. What can be more than that? So 5 million naira now, if you decide to leave it in an account that's what we call money market fund for the next 20 years, you are going to be 25 million naira richer. Can you imagine? Can you imagine this? Now, how many people are actually aware of this? That can actually make money through this means. So, what we're saying here is that instead of buying that car, why don't you put that money into what? Into an investment, and you keep saving that money, you keep saving that money, and keep putting that money into what? Into that money market fund, or maybe ALA, or fixed income funds, or maybe stock, or anything, and watch your money grow in the next 20 years. In the next 20 years. So 5 million naira is going to generate you 25 million naira in the next 20 years. That's a huge amount of money. Now, do you think your car can generate that money for you? No, that car cannot generate that money for you, because that car is actually what I call a liability, not an asset. So car is not an asset, but a liability. Now, what is the second wealth killer that is making people not to be very rich, that is making people to have holes in their pockets, that at the end of the day, they cannot save anything, they cannot even survive, they cannot even have an investment at the end of the day? The second one of them is what I call a vacation. Vacation. Vacation is very, very good. It's good to go on vacation, most especially if you have actually worked hard, and you have done so much at the end of the year. You need to go and relax yourself. Of course, it's good. But on the other hand, I would rather prefer to go on a vacation, on a business trip vacation, not an ordinary vacation. So if I'm going to go on a vacation, I'm going on a business trip. While I'm doing my business, I'm also relaxing as well. So at the end of the day, it's going to create what we call what? A ripple effect for me, in the sense that I'm going to have what? Make more money at the end of the day, and also have some money to save, and also have some money to go on my vacation. So vacation is very, very good. But in most cases, or in every situation, in most situations, you find out that people spend a lot of money on vacation. And unfortunate thing is that most of these vacations are funded by debt, by card, by card. So vacation does not generate what I call a value. It doesn't generate any value. It doesn't generate any income. It doesn't generate any money. But rather, it is actually a lavish lifestyle, or an expensive lifestyle. And that's the situation where people within the ages of 20 to 45 years, they find themselves going on a lavish vacation, expensive vacation, that cannot even create any value at the end of the day. So vacation will actually create a hole in your pocket, and it will serve as a wealth killer. So you need to make all that, you need to make money for yourself, and not making other people to be very, very rich. Because when you're actually going on vacation and you're traveling around the world, like Ajala Tanwe, you understand now, you are actually spending a lot of money, and you are making other people to be very, very rich. So going on vacation, expensive vacation, is actually a wealth killer. Then the third one that will actually create a hole in your pocket, and is also a wealth killer, is what we call designer clothes. Designer clothes. People like designer clothes in our own part of the world. Like I said, it's a materialistic society where people glorify people by what they see them wear, the kind of car they drove, the kind of wristwatch they wear, the kind of shoes they wear, the kind of necklace they wear. So designer clothes are also wealth killer. Most especially where you spend a huge amount of money buying these things at the end of the day. So it can serve as a wealth killer. So let me give you a very typical example of someone I know, who is called Anua, Bernard Anua. Bernard Anua is actually the richest man, if not the richest man in the world today in 2024, because he's the owner of Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton. Bernard Arnault is a Frenchman, and is the owner of Louis Vuitton and other designer brands, and is also the owner of Moet and NSA. Moet and the NSA. L Louis Vuitton Moet NSA. That is LVHM or LVMH, whichever one. Moet and the NSA. So he's involved in so many brands, and is producing designer clothes and some other things like that. So he's the one that owns what we call Louis Vuitton, Dior, and the Fendi, and the Givenchy. Do you get it now? So people pay a lot to look rich. They don't us pay a lot of money to look rich. Like somebody was, I was asking somebody that if I decide to wear this clothes outside, would they arrest me for putting on a t-shirt? And the person could not answer my question. Do you understand? Like remember when Mark Zuckerberg came to Nigeria some time ago, some few years back, He was on t-shirt and he was on short neck and he was on shoes and he was moving around, enjoying his life. And Mark Zuckerberg, the funniest thing about him is that he's always wearing the same color every time. He's always wearing the same color. And they asked him, why are you always wearing the same color or the same t-shirt every time? He said he doesn't have the time to be looking at what to dress upon or the kind of clothes that he's going to wear at the end of the day. So he doesn't have that time. So he needs to put on something that will make it easier for him to quickly move out and make more money for himself. So you are actually making other people to be rich when you buy designer clothes. Like what? Like like Calvin Klein, like Ralph Lauren, like Givenchy, like Louis Vuitton, like Saint Laurent, like Dolce and Gabbana, like Chanel, like Dior, like Valentino, like Fendi, like Gucci, like Armani. Do you get it now? There are many of them. Armani, and people like wearing them. They like wearing them to look so exorbitant, to look so flamboyant, to look so flashy, to look so take away and the rest of them. So they spend money on Chanel, on Dior, on Valentino, on Armani, on Fendi, on Gucci, on Prada, on Saint Laurent, on the Dolce and Gabbana, on the Ralph Lauren, on the Calvin Klein and the rest of them, Givenchy, Louis Vuitton. They wanted to look very, very rich and they want to look so classic. But at the end of the day, they're actually creating holes in their pocket. That money is into to buy those designer clothes that people are hailing you on the street. Why don't you use that money to buy a future and invest and make more money for yourself? So buying clothes, most especially designer clothes, are very, very, very expensive. They make you to look rich, but they do not make you to be rich. Do you understand that? So when you put on those clothes, you look so rich, you look so flamboyant, you look so exorbitant, you look so flashy, you look so takeaway. They make you to look rich, but it does not make you to be rich. It doesn't make you to be rich. So designer clothes does not actually create value. It doesn't create value, but rather it will create holes in your pocket. Now, another thing that's actually a wealth killer to most people in our society, most especially in developing countries, is actually, you know, poor or lack of family planning. Lack of family planning. You know, a lot of us, or in our contemporary time now, are actually having so many children. You look at some families or some young men or young folks today, they will tell you they have about 4 kids, 5, 6 kids, 7 kids. I know someone in my office, I know someone very well, a family friend that has about 7 to 8 kids. And I was wondering, guy, are you a baby manufacturer or you are a farmer, like what they used to have in those days when they were practicing what we call subsistence farming, not even mechanized farming, subsistence farming, where you actually provide for your family consumption and for your immediate family. And I was asking you, is that, and he couldn't answer the question. So, why, what's actually creating or having or serving as a work killer today for most people is actually poor family planning. People don't plan now. Everybody just want to have children, no proper planning. And today, those children, they actually become street urchins, they become, Mike Marudas, they become street vagabonds, they become hooligans, they become a waste to society, they become a problem to the society because they engage in all forms of what? Of illegal activities, smoking, robbing, stealing, engaging in burglary, kidnapping, and the rest of them. Because why? There is actually no proper family planning. So raising children today is very, very expensive. I remember one of my colleagues was telling me about some few months ago, and he told me that, man, it's not easy to have children. And I said, why? He said buying pampers is not easy. That buying baby food is not easy. Taking babies to for medical, um, care and the rest of them is not easy. You have to feed the mother, you have to feed the baby, you have to pay for house rent, you have to pay for your, transportation fee, you're feeding your immediate family, your, extended families and the rest of them. Only one man doing that. So raising families today is very, very expensive. Raising children also is very, very expensive because it takes a lot of things. And because of this, it's found out that even today, a lot of people are having a lot of family issues and problems because of this issue. And apart from that, it's also causing a lot of breakages in marriage, which is actually very, very, very expensive now because you cannot afford to leave your wife and your children, or your wife decides to take those children away. Who's going to train them? Who's going to take care of them? Who's going to discipline them? Who's going to correct them? Because raising children alone cannot be done by single parents. Some people will tell you that it's very easy. I can raise my children by myself. It is not possible. You cannot raise your children by yourself alone. So you need the father, you need the mother to be together for them to be able to raise children to the way of the Lord, for them to be profitable to the society. So while the father is also correcting, the mother is also correcting, and they must be united together to correct these children. So for you to be actually be able to escape this menace or this problem, you need to have a partner that should be able to support you. Your partner should be able to support you. In most times when I'm not at home, my wife is always at home, and what I did was I actually opened a shop for her where I actually put some things for her to actually sell, and she's making money, and I'm also making money. And while I'm not there, she's taking care of the children. And when I get back to, I continue from when she actually stopped, and that's what we call unity in what in the family. So you need to have a partner that will support you. Gone are those days now that people are actually getting married because you actually want to marry somebody that does not have a job. It's very, very dangerous. Looks like your income cannot sustain the two of you. Now you're having children. Who's going to feed them? Who's going to take care of them? How can you be able to feed? How can you be able to take care of your family when you are the only one what being the breadwinner? Your wife is not supporting you. It's a very dangerous phenomenon. So the person that you want to marry must be an asset, not a liability. Must be an asset. Gone are those days when you want to marry a liability. Nobody wants to marry a liability now. In fact, most ladies will ask you now, if you want to talk to them, you ask them, are you working? They want to know whether you are working. And most men will ask also, are you a working class? So both of you must be working for you to be able to survive in this economic system, because the economic system is on a high inflationary rate and very, very expensive. So it is not a load that one person can carry, but a load of two people. Then another wealth killer, which I'm going to talk about before I finish, before the next one, is what I call the homes, luxurious luxurious homes. You see, a lot of people, are renting homes that they cannot afford. They cannot afford. You are renting a home that you cannot afford, or you are buying a home that you cannot actually afford. It's good to buy a home, it's good to build your house, but can you afford it? I can remember when I bought my land some time ago, and in 2019 I actually packed to my house. But before I did that, it took me so many years to actually finish my house. It took me so many years, because even at that time the economy was not in this what we have now. So it took me so many years, and I took my time to build that house, but it wasn't easy. So imagine now, this 2024, if you want to buy a house, how much is going to cost you to buy the house? If you want to build a house now, how much is going to cost you to actually build a house now? So how building homes or renting homes is actually what a wealth killer, because most times most of us go beyond our limits. You want to show to people that you are actually rich. You want to show to people that you are actually a big boy. You want to show to people that you have what it takes to live in a mansion, and you actually go and pay for that house. You pay for a house. I was asking a colleague, some few days back. In fact, this is one of the reasons that had made me to actually do this video. I asked the guy that you said you are living in a single room in Fadeyi or Shomolu side, and he said yes, he's living in a single room. I said how much I pay? He said he's paying 500,000. I said what? 500,000 for a single room in Shomolu? 500,000. He said yes, he's paying 500,000. I said I'm so surprised. Then I asked him what about a room and parlor segment? He says about 1 point something million. Then I said 2 bedroom flat. He said it's about 2 point something. I said 3 bedroom flat. I said about 3 million or 3 point something million to rent a 3 bedroom flat. 3 point something million in this 2024. I give kudos to so many guys, and some guys are living in their house. And the funny thing is that they are only living there with their girlfriend, living in a 3 bedroom flat, paying 3 point something million. You want to show that you're a big boy. You understand? And that money, you're supposed to invest that money. You're showing a big boy. Is that house actually creating a value for you? No. It's actually what? A liability. The only house that can actually create a value for you is a rental estate where that money is actually generating, that house is generating what? Income for you, passive income for you. You rent it out, you get paid. You rent what? The storage facilities out, you get paid. You rent the house out, you get paid. You rent the office out, you get paid. You rent the shopping complex out, you get paid. That is the one I'm talking about. But if you're actually living in a residential house where you have to pay a lot of money because you are living there, it's a wealth killer. Because big homes will attract big expenses, and it's not easy to maintain houses. So you must be able to cut your coat according to your size. You may not have the opportunity to save some money when you are actually living in this houses. When you are living this your so-called mansion or two-bedroom flat or three-bedroom flat with a big boy's car, you want to show people that you are actually rich, but you are not rich. That is not the measurement of what of rich. You want to show, you want to look as if you are rich, but you are not rich. Do you get that? It's not creating value for you, but it's actually creating a hole in your pocket. It will not create value, but it will create what we call liabilities. So you need to think twice before you rent that house. I could remember before I got married, I was living in a single room in Abulega, and from there I moved to a room and parlor self-contained, and from there, when I got married in a room and parlor self-contained, when I started having bigger families, and the area too actually matters. I was paying a hell of a money, you know, in that house in Abulega. I decided to move to Iko. From there, I was able to save some money and finish my house. And from there, I back to my house, and that's the house I'm actually living today. And I'm very happy for it because it's actually a decade of a sacrifice. You understand? So you need to rent a home that you can actually afford. You don't need to buy or rent a house that is so that will drain your pocket, that will take away a lot of money from you because you want to look rich or because you want to impress your friends, because you want them to see you as see you're actually a big man, but you're not a big man. What makes you to be a man? Big man is an investment. If you don't have an investment, you are not a rich man. You are just struggling. You are not creating value. You are only creating liabilities because that rentage or that house will be taking a lot of money from you. And if you actually buy a land and you are building a house, must you build a mansion? The funniest thing is that all these houses that we're even building, by the time my children grows up, they are not going to stay in the house. They're not going to stay in the house. They will tell you the house that I built with my money is actually an old school house. And the house I built is actually an old school house. They don't want to stay there. In the next 10 years, 15 years, a lot of development, a lot of things are going to change. So those kids will not stay in that house. I think that you're creating or building for your children that are coming up. They will not stay there. They will not stay. I know of a friend in my office, he knows a family in Banana Island, and the man is late now. He actually built a mansion, and now the children said they can't live there. They have to even take their children, their mothers away from there because they're a polygamous family. They have to go and rent another place for the mother and say, this place, we are going to destroy the house. Imagine the house that the man used millions of naira to build. The children said they will destroy it. In that house, there's lift, there's everything there, but they said they can't live there because it's actually an old school house. What a life, what an irony. Do you understand now? So when you're building the house, think twice. Your children will not live there, they will not stay there, they will go and build their own house, they will go and buy their own land and start building their own house. So they will not stay in your house, they will not stay. I too, I don't stay in my father's house. My father has a house, but I won't stay in my father's house. How will I stay there? The same thing, the children will not stay in my house. They'll go and build their own house. So think twice when you are wasting money on building the house. Nobody's going to stay there. At the end of the day, they might end up with destroying the house and building something of their choice on top of it. If I thought they are not going to sell that land. So why do you have to kill yourself? Because you want to build a house. Then the last one is what we call debt payment. Debt payment is also a wealth killer. Debt payment. If you are paying debt today, it's actually a wealth killer. Now, I'm not saying you should not borrow money. I'm not saying you should not be indebted. A lot of us are also indebted. We borrow money, but we borrow money that we know we can pay, and we also borrow money that we know that the interest is not high. Then we also borrow money that we know that within a short period of time we are going to pay the money. So if you are the type that you are going to buy, get the money, or you want to borrow money that you are going to pay for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, it's not a good investment. Most especially in a country like Nigeria now. And apart from that, if you are borrowing the money from a mortgage financial institution, you will pay more. If you are borrowing the money from Easy Buy, you will pay more. If you are getting the money from buy now and pay later, you will pay more. But if you are getting the money from a bank, of course, the rate is actually fixed. But from a mortgage financial institution, you are going to pay a lot of money. Be very, very wise. Today are actually living in the debt because of this situation. So it's good to borrow money. And when you actually borrow money, if you have a business or something that you know that when you have actually taken that money, it's going to create value for you and it's going to create more money for you. I would advise you to go for that money. Like when I wanted to collect money from the bank, and I asked them, if I actually collect the money from you, how much is going to be my interest? And they told me I'm going to pay 24 point something. I said no, they can hold your money because number one, I don't have a business I want to do with that money. I actually wanted to put that money in my investment. And I realized that if I have to put that money in my investment, it will take me 3 years to actually finish paying that money. And by that time, if I decide to save that money by myself, and put it in my investment, I can make it up in 3 years. While borrowing money from the bank and paying interest on top, and at the end of the day, it is still the same thing I want to achieve at the end of the day. So why not what? Be patient enough and raise that money by myself. And that was why I decided I'm not going to take the money from the bank. So if you're taking the money from the bank, you have to be very, very careful. Because today, a lot of people are highly indebted because of what? Of bank loans, because of easy buy, because of buy now, pay later, because of mortgage financial institutions loan. A lot of people are living in debt. They are living in what I call tsunami of debt. Show you later. So you have to avoid the debt. But debt is not a good thing, because every time you wake up, you always think, I'm owing somebody. Though some people don't have conscience, they tell you, well, everybody in Nigeria too is owing money. But Nigeria is owing money. That is Nigeria. What about you? Everywhere you go, that is that, hammering your head that you are owing somebody money, which is not a very good one. So if you are actually owing a debt, you have to pay back aggressively. Start paying the money back so that you can easily and quickly, finish paying that money, and you cannot concentrate on other things in your life, because paying debt is a wealth killer. The reason is that what you are going to be paying a lot of money as an interest on the money you have actually borrowed. So you must, in this 2024, in this dispensation, you must spend less. You must earn more, spend less, and invest more. That is what the secret to wealth creation. Spend less, earn more, and what? And invest more. You must be financially smart and put in the sacrifice early enough in your life. You must be financially, smart. You should not be a consumer only, but you should also be what? A producer. And apart from that, you must be, willing to sacrifice enough in your life at the early stage of your life. That is from 20 years to 45 years. You can start saving money from at the age of 20 years till when you are actually 45 years. And you can actually retire early in your life and enjoy your life. Imagine if you are saving money from now when you are 20 years till when you are 45 years. That means you are saving money for the next 25 years. And not ordinary money you are saving, you are investing the money for the next 25 years. Only God knows whether you are going to be the richest man in Nigeria in the next 25 years. If you are actually very resilient, if you are determined, if you are focused, if you are hardworking, if you are very resourceful, if you can save money from now till the next 25 years, you don't need to work in it. By the age of 45 years, you can retire. You can retire and begin to enjoy your life. Even when you are not working, your money will be funding your lifestyle. And that is what financial, independence is all about. Remember, I said that when you start working, money will generate you what? Work will generate you money, and the money will generate you wealth, and the wealth will generate you what? Asset, and the asset will generate you what we call financial freedom. Don't you think it is possible? It is possible if you actually plan towards it. I hope you have actually gained something from this video. If you have actually gained something from this video, please subscribe now. Share the video to those people that actually need it, so that when I also upload videos on this channel, you'll be one of the first persons that will actually be notified. To my returning subscribers, I say a very big thank you. And if you have not subscribed, make it subscribe now. And I see you next time. I remain your pragmatic, resilient, productive, innovative, inventive David Oni. And my YouTube channel is also once again Great Mindset. God bless you. God bless Lagos State. God bless Nigeria. And God bless the world. Thank you, and God bless you.